Hi, and in today's video, we will share one of the best samurai games to date.
Welcome back to our newest video. In today's video, we'll be covering our top picks for the samurai themed games that we think you should definitely play. Do know that they aren't listed as best to worst, but rather offer you a possibility to pick as we have those games in a specific genre that you may enjoy playing.
Way of the Samurai 4 came out back in 2011 in Japan and a year later in North America and Europe, and was initially released for PlayStation 3. Today, you can get your hands on it on Steam if you wish. What really makes this game particularly great is the combat. Although flawed in some areas, it has a great representation of the way of the samurai. What's really fascinating about this is also that once you complete it and go for a new Game Plus, you are presented with variation of difficulty and changes, which makes it for a great experience if you enjoy the replayability of things.
Way of the Samurai 4 takes place in the humble port of Amihama during the mid-19th century, several years after the arrival of the black ships from the West ended Japan's long history of cultural isolation. Although not entirely historically accurate, it's definitely a fun and enjoyable samurai game. I remember playing this way back when I stayed over my wife's family place for a few weeks, and I honestly loved it. While doing this research and seeing this game pop up once more, I had to recommend it. You should seriously try it out if you're interested in samurai culture and as well in combat stances and samurai theme games.
Samurai Jack Battle Through Time. Samurai Jack was a popular cartoon series back in 2001 and originally ran for 4 seasons comprising 13 episodes each until September 25, 2004, without concluding the overarching story. For those who enjoy the cartoon, the developers behind Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker have decided to offer old fans of the cartoon Samurai Jack the game.
You play as Samurai Jack and you're tasked to defeat Aku from conquering the world by going across different periods of time. The game is a hack and slash for those who enjoy the series that follow the legendary story of Samurai Jack. If you've been a fan of the cartoon like I was, you should definitely pick this game up.
Katana Zero. Switching a bit the genre, Katana Zero is a stylish neo-noir action platformer featuring breakneck action and instant death combat. Slash, dash, and manipulate time to unravel your past in a beautifully brutal acrobatic display. If you enjoy fast-paced combat with incredible pixel art style, this may be a game that would be difficult to put down once you get started.
Each level is uniquely designed for countless methods of completion. You can defeat your enemies however creatively you think possible, using spontaneous approaches to eliminate your enemies as you see fit. Aside from the beautiful stylized game, this game comes with an incredible, interesting story, one that only complements the game even more. Lastly, take note that this game isn't for those who are looking for easygoing time, as it offers a difficulty spike that requires you to practice, fail, and try again multiple times. Overall, the whole challenge is worth it.
Ryuga Gotoku Ishin. Ryuga Gotoku Ishin is a spin-off game in the Ryuga Gotoku video game series, known in English localization as Yakuza. It was produced by Sega and released for PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, serving as a Japanese launch title for the latter platform. Despite being the second Ryuga Gotoku series spin-off set in the samurai era, instead of modern-day Japan, this game is unrelated to Ryuga Gotoku Kenzan, which was released in 2008 on the PlayStation 3. Kenzan is set to 2 centuries before Ishin, hence the plots are not related with each other. Each game focuses on a different character, the historical figures of Miyamoto Musashi (1584 to 1645) and Sakamoto Ryoma (1836 to 1867) respectively.
So, if you've been a fan of the Yakuza series and would like to try something that is more inclined towards the Japanese sword fighting, this game may be for you. We do know that Yakuza Like a Dragon is more recently a JRPG with turn-based combat, so expect that Ryuga Gotoku Ishin follows the traditional action RPG from older Yakuza games. We think that the game still looks great for its age, and it's worth giving it a try if you own a PlayStation 4.
Afro Samurai is an action video game for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, loosely based on the manga and anime series of the same name. It was announced in the February 2008 issue of Play magazine and released on January 27, 2009. Sadly, we've not yet gotten any port to newer consoles, which makes this game a bit more difficult to access. Interestingly stylized and rather graphic compared to the other samurai games on this list, we find that this game is still worth the shot.
At some point, Afro Samurai 2 Revenge of the Kuma was announced, but sadly was cancelled back in 2015. Either way, if you don't have the possibility to play the game, we'd recommend watching the anime series which was originally taken from. Afro Samurai is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by the manga artist Takashi Okazaki. Inspired by the Okazaki's love of soul and hip-hop music and American media, it follows the life of the Afro Samurai who witnessed his father, Rokutaro, killed by a male gunslinger named Justice while he was a child. As an adult, Afro sets off to kill Justice and avenge his father. So the game follows the exact storyline if you're interested to know more about it. Overall, we think that if you have the possibility to play the game, we definitely recommend checking them out and as well watching the anime.
Onimusha 3 Demon Siege. Released in Japan and Europe as Onimusha 3, Onimusha is a hack-and-slash action-adventure video game developed and published by Capcom. It was released for the PlayStation 2 originally on 2004. It was later ported to Windows on 2005. The story focuses on the returning hero's swordsman Hidemitsu Samanosuke Akechi, who is in his quest to defeat his enemies Nobunaga Oda, who wishes to conquer Japan with his army of demons known as Genma.
However, Samanosuke changes places with a French officer from the future named Jacques Blanc, and both have to adapt to their new worlds to get rid of the Genma army and stop Oda Nobunaga's ambitions to conquer the world. That being said, the Onimusha series is divided in 4 parts. Onimusha Warlords, which was remastered and is available for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows via Steam. Onimusha 2 Samurai Destiny, which is a sequel of the original, and Onimusha Dawn of Dreams that came back in 2006, being the 4th game in the chronological main story. Unfortunately, we do not have any remasters or remakes of the last ones that came out, so we just have to wait until maybe we're gonna get a Windows or an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 remake or even a Nintendo Switch. We do not know yet what the developers intend to do.
Samurai Warriors 5. Although not the best from the series, definitely the most recent from the entry. Samurai Warriors follows similar combat with Dynasty Warriors and Warriors Orochi franchises. Like previous games, the game is a hack and slash in which the player faces against hundreds of enemy soldiers in a battlefield, with the objective usually being the defeat of an enemy commander.
Generally, these types of games become really chaotic and grinding at some point, but that doesn't mean that they are by all means bad games. In fact, the combat is rather good looking and flashy, although we've not played a similar game in a while, and if you enjoy the other similar types of hack and slash games of the same caliber, we highly recommend Samurai Warrior franchise.
Samurai Shodown. Moving a bit from the hack and slash, we are going to pick a genre that doesn't get enough love: fighting games. Samurai Shodown is a 2D fighting game with 3D graphics that uses many elements from past games in the series. Samurai Shodown, known in Japan as Samurai Spirits, is a fighting game series by SNK. The series began in 1993 and is known for being one of the earliest in the genre, with the primary focus on weapon-based combat.
For a good roster to pick from, 16 playable characters are in the base game, followed by 4 new ones with a DLC. Please correct me if I'm wrong. You get to experience an interesting and intense action in this one. Now, either you enjoy the King of Fighters, Street Fighter, or Soul Calibur, we highly recommend trying this one out for the love you have for samurai and Japanese culture.
For Honor, it's a great pick if you love to play as a series of great warriors from different periods and locations. On one side, you can play as a knight or Roman gladiator to a Viking berserker or shaman. But obviously, you are not here for that. You are here for the samurai. In For Honor, you have the possibility to play as a great number of Japanese warriors. You can either pick an Orochi, which is a straight-up samurai, or a Ronin type, like the Onimusha, or if you like a more ninja-like type of warrior, you got the Shinobi. Lastly, you can ask Kyoshin, which was most recently introduced back in 2021.
The combat in this game is amazing and challenging at the same time. I believe we've talked about this in previous videos, but both of us played and enjoyed this game quite a bit. Armea enjoys this game more than I did, and her favorite character was the Nobushi. So if you're looking for a good time in a multiplayer that still holds up today, you can definitely pick up For Honor and show your skills on the battlefield, or in a 1v1 combat or 2v2. The choice is all yours.
Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun. For those who love a little bit of tactics, we've got Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun. This game is a stealth-oriented real-time tactics video game developed by Mimimi Productions and published by Daedalic Entertainment. The gameplay is similar to that of the Commandos and Desperados series. Something we personally think has re-emerged from the dead as it was not so popular in the last 10 years or so.
Set in Japan around the Edo period, a new shogun seizes power over Japan and enforces the nationwide peace. In this battle against conspiracy and rebellion, he recruits 5 specialists with extraordinary skills for assassination, sabotage, and espionage. In this game, you try to use your wits to stay stealthy as possible and to eliminate your targets without alerting the whole encampment. If you've been a fan of the Commandos, this type of game will feel familiar. And if you enjoy a game with a great story, this may be the right type of samurai game you've been looking for.
Shadow Warrior 3. We could recommend playing the Wolf franchise as it is an interesting first-person shooter where you play as Lo Wang, a modern ninja warrior who fights through hordes of demons. Originally, this game was released back in 1997 but was redone in 2013, where the racism was taken out and fun and modernized mechanics have been introduced.
While in this game you don't particularly always swing a sword, not unless you want to, the game is rather a mix of that and Doom. In the third installment, you continue the story of Lo Wang with his constantly dirty yet funny jokes. If you want more chaos and fun, maybe less of a samurai thing, we highly recommend checking the trilogy out.
Nioh 2 is an interesting pick and one of the best soul-like games you can get your hands on. Similar to its predecessor, Nioh 2 is an action role-playing game. Players can create their own playable character who was a yokai spirit. Players are equipped with a variety of weapons such as Odachi and Kusarigama and earn new skills and special abilities as they progress in the game.
To put it simply, although difficult like many of the other Soul-like games, Nioh 2 is a great game with massive amount of depth and deeply rewarding mechanics. You can pick between a lot of different weapons. Each one grants skill points as they can be used to fill up your weapon's unique skill tree. Individual weapons gain familiarity with time as well, so as time goes by, you will become better and better at the game. If you're looking for a more Soul-like game like this one, we'll be talking about the next one later in the video.
Total War Shogun 2. For those who love the Total War games or strategy in general, Shogun 2 offers a compelling gameplay for those who are interested in the samurai period. The main campaign of Shogun Total War involves a player choosing a clan and moving to eliminate their enemies and become shogun of feudal Japan. Each faction controls various historical provinces. Each province allows for the cultivation of farmland and the construction of border watchtowers and defend a castle.
Shogun 2 features multiplayer battles as well as multiplayer campaign that you may involve more than 2 players. In the multiplayer campaign, players can be grouped into different clans, so that for each clan, one player assumes the role of a clan leader and the other takes command of armies. But of course, you aren't forced to play this game multiplayer, but having that variation is great nevertheless. So if you enjoyed the real-time strategy games or the Total War franchise so far and want more, picking Total War Shogun 2 would be ideal.
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Going back to Soul-like games and the last on this list, I promise we had to pick this one. One of the best from software games to date. Sekiro offers a challenging and yet rewarding experience among the Soul-like games. Compared to the other traditional Soul-like games from software, this one manages to come out different by focusing on a different mechanic, the parrying, which becomes the key element in defeating your enemies.
In Sekiro Shadow Die Twice, you are the one-armed wolf, a disgraced and disfigured warrior rescued from the brink of death. Bound to protect the young lady, who is the descendant of an ancient bloodline, you become the target of many vicious enemies, including the dangerous Ashina clan. What's also interesting is that comparing with previous games from software, this one has a much more easier to understand plot where you, the one-armed wolf, are actually voiced. It's honestly a nice touch amongst other From Software games, and because of that and its challenging combat mechanics, this game has received a lot of praise from its fans and from the Soul-like games community.
Ghost of Tsushima. And to close this list off, we had to include one of the most beautifully represented samurai games in the last decade. Ghost of Tsushima truly follows the way of the samurai, and it's most definitely one of the best you can get your hands on. Ghost of Tsushima is an open-world action-adventure game developed by Sucker Punch Productions and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. You play as Jin Sakai, a samurai on a quest to protect Tsushima Island during the first Mongol invasion of Japan.
With an interesting story and a great visual representation of the game, as well as a fun combat, this game was difficult for me to put down until I sank over 100 hours into the game. The game offers a DLC where you as well play on a mysterious island called Iki Island, and if you wish, you've got yourself a multiplayer as well. Honestly, Ghost of Tsushima has been one of my favorite games, and if Sony decides to release it on PC, you can bet I'll be replaying the entire game once more there. The combat in the game resolves in learning and mastering the combat stances that act as counters to different types of enemies. In the end of the game, you become a powerhouse that nobody would like to mess up with. Honestly, I highly recommend playing this game out if you're looking for a rich samurai or Japanese adventure.
Alright, that was a long list for sure, but we couldn't have just placed a few and leave you as that. If you're interested in more lists like this, feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you'll be notified of other upcoming videos we seem to release nowadays. A bit chaotically, but we are definitely all the time here on a monthly basis.
If you enjoyed this type of content, all you have to do is support us with a like. That's all it takes really. And if you've watched so far, we thank you for showing your support and appreciation. We thank you for watching this video. As always, I've been Vajral with Armea, and this has been another Tellplay video. I hope you'll have a great time as a samurai, so master your stances and strike swiftly. Until next time, take care.